This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, drummers, singers, and dancers liven up MSUM with traditional Native American culture. Concordia students chime in about their love for these simple yet complex instruments. Some local college teams search for places to play as winter hangs around the valley. But first, the flood fight is on in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Macy Egland.
And I'm Chelsea Smith. The National Weather Service has lowered its predicted crest for the Red River, but Fargo-Moorhead is still preparing for major flooding.
Reporter Ross Torgerson tells us how MSU Moorhead is responding to the flood predictions.
Right now, if I had to give an early estimation to the crest in Fargo, probably towards the end of next week, which would be sometime in early May, maybe May 2nd through the 5th in that time frame.
That is the sudden reality to everyone in the Red River Valley. With much of the valley unwillingly skipping the spring season entirely, it is just now rapidly approaching. The Red River looks quite calm as of now, but in just a matter of a few days, the National Weather Service is predicting that the river will approach its newly projected crest of 37 feet by this Wednesday. That projected crest is down to 2 feet from just a week ago, giving schools like MSUM a much-needed sigh of relief.
Our course of action pretty much remains the same, even though the forecast is more favorable, and that's because we've done basic level prep work.
Wahlberg says that in a worst-case scenario, MSUM does have the necessary flood-fighting equipment already in place in case something were to go wrong, and that they've learned what precautions need to be taken from fighting floods from previous years.
We haven't had to actually enact a lot of specific measures yet, but we were ready. And if for whatever reason the crust is higher than expected, we'll be ready for that too.
Wahlberg says that while the new flood forecast is more favorable for the city of Moorhead, they remain aware that things could change in an instant.
It's very easy to become complacent, but we know the situation can change. It looks like we won't need to spring to action, but if we do, we'll be ready.
With the newly projected crest of 37 feet, Wahlberg says that it's highly unlikely that this will affect any school operations and that the remainder of the school year is, as of right now, set to be finished on time. Reporting in Fargo-Moorhead, Ross Torgerson, Campus News.
As area schools prepare for the flood, students are also doing their share to keep the community dry.
North Dakota State University students came together to help fight the flood during the big event this week. Many students helped out the Fargo-Moorhead area by filling sandbags to prepare for major flooding along the Red River. The big event is an annual student-organized day put together to help out nonprofit organizations and local residents. This year, multiple NDSU sorority and fraternity groups came to lend a hand.
It does feel good giving back to the community that has given me so much in my 5 years here at school. I'm going to be doing everything I can, whether it's going to be filling sandbags here or placing them on the houses on the river, doing whatever I can to help out the community.
Last year, NDSU had more than 700 students volunteer. The big event first started at Texas A&M in 1982 and has since become the largest student-organized service event in the country.
Just as the turbulence surrounding Bill Ayers' visit to MSUM was settling down, talk show host Rush Limbaugh compared Ayers to the suspects behind the recent Boston Marathon bombing.
This national nod from Limbaugh, along with the ongoing negative reaction from the alumni and community members, has left MSUM answering to angry members of the public. Reporter Ezra Vandeninde has more.
Ayers is known for his involvement with the organization Weather Underground, a group credited for bombing government buildings in protest of the Vietnam War. School officials say most of the negative response is driven by misinformation and isn't related to what he spoke about while visiting MSUM.
He came to MSUM to talk about college reform, something that he has the academic credentials to do. But for a number of people, his political past overshadowed all of that.
The school has been receiving countless emails and phone calls from upset alumni and angry members of the public. The campus security office has been assigned the task of reviewing all of the emails and messages for threats.
I was given all the emails that have been received by the president's office. We've been getting the emails from the professor all along. He's sending them over so we can review those and look at those. But yeah, in all those emails, we haven't found anything that's a direct threat. Nobody's threatening the professor, the president, anybody on campus.
Although there haven't been any serious threats, the school's security plans to take extra precautions during upcoming events, including next month's graduation commencement. Meanwhile, School administration is reconsidering the procedures for selecting guest speakers in the future.
And what we need to do as an institution is continue the conversation with our faculty so that when prominent public figures are invited to campus, we have a broader conversation about what it means.
Ezra Vanden Einde, Campus News.
According to Wahlberg, MSUM has already seen a significant loss in alumni donations following Ayers' visit.
Get ready, Microsoft fans. The boss is coming to Concordia today. Microsoft Chairman Bill Gates will be speaking to a full house at the Memorial Auditorium in just 3 hours. He will discuss social entrepreneurship as part of a dedication for the new Offutt School of Business. The auditorium will open at 9 a.m. and all ticket holders are expected to be in their seats by 10 a.m., 30 minutes before Gates is to speak.
Concordia alumna Roxana Saberi will also be visiting Concordia soon to speak at the school's commencement. Saberi has spoken across the United States and other parts of the world about human rights violations in Iran. In 2009, she was arrested and sentenced to 9 years of prison in Iran for espionage. She was released after an Iranian court overturned her sentence. The ceremony will be held on May 5th in the Memorial Auditorium. It starts at 2:30 p.m.
MSU Moorhead students are using social media to try to save a professor's job. MSUM's decision to lay off sociology and criminal justice professor Shannon Terry had students acting quick to start a petition over Facebook. The Facebook page has more than 200 likes and many posts from students showing their love and support for Professor Terry.
I think it just shows her how much she's loved by all the students that have had her. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest impact it had on her was, that there's students out there that really care about me and that I've made a difference in their lives.
Terry had a fixed-term contract that put her at risk of being laid off every academic year. She's a graduate of MSUM and has been working there for the past 10 years.
Communicating with others may be something a lot of people take for granted. Reporter Brianne Lensmeyer shows us how one inspirational speaker talks without saying a word.
Trix Bruce communicates through a different way. She showed NDSU students how she speaks to others. Bruce lost her hearing before she turned 1. She has spent most of her life communicating through sign language. Bruce showed how she has experienced moments in her life, from a swimming meet to breaking her wrist. She also shared how she interacts with and understands people that are able to speak.
I'm an actual live deaf person standing here sharing her stories. And second of all, the deaf story, what's it about?
NDSU was just one stop on her nationwide journey to bring awareness to the deaf community. Students enjoyed the performance and say they learned a lot.
Just kind of like she really put in perspective of all the little different things that she has to do just a little bit differently, or, just a little tougher, and I don't know, it's really kind of mind-opening.
Bruce's main goal in presenting is to break down the stereotypes that people may have about the deaf community.
That deaf can. Instead of saying deaf can't, deaf can. And give the hearing community that exposure that deaf can.
With photographer Allison Smith, Brianne Lensmeyer, Campus News.
You can find more of Bruce's story on her website at trixbruce.com.
While social media sites like Facebook usually pose a distraction for college students, an advertising team from NDSU has won an award for using it creatively. The American Advertising Federation awarded NDSU's team of 18 students the Olson Award for their outstanding work in a social media campaign. The competition has students create a campaign for a real-world company. This year's client was Glidden Paint. NDSU's winning campaign was called Connect Life Through Color. The University of Minnesota hosted the District 8 National Student Advertising Competition.
The Women's Center at MSU Moorhead has created what some students say is a home away from home.
Reporter Jasmine Mackey tells us how this special space is making students feel welcome.
With a kind heart and a contagious laugh, Director Anita Bender makes students feel welcome at the Women's Center. Some come to socialize, others use the center as a study space, but for transfer student Katie Cottonbrock, it's become more than just a place to hang out.
It's a really unique environment where I feel like I'm able to advocate for things I care about and learn more things and really have a campus community.
As assistant director of the Women's Center, Cottonbrock works closely with Bender to make the center a safe space for students. Their mission is to empower women and promote feminist activism and women's self-determination.
It's just a really amazing place on campus, and I feel like it's kind of helped MSUM become more of a home to me.
But it also is really to create a community, to help people come in here and have a place to socialize, that they feel safe socializing and that they feel like they're welcome.
The center opens in the early morning and can stay open until 9 or 10 p.m. some nights, but it sees the most action during the noon hour when students get together for lunch.
So you can walk in here on a given day and find 20 students in here, 25 students. We do a lot of stuff in conjunction with women and gender studies, so many of the students that use this space are also women and gender studies students as well.
Although the space is called the Women's Center, Bender says everyone is welcome. Jasmine Mackey, Campus News.
The Women's Center first opened its doors in September 1990.
Students going into the dental hygiene program at M State in Moorhead are showing that not all classrooms look alike. In fact, this one looks a lot like a dental office, but it's actually a lab where M State students learn about proper dental techniques. This hands-on lab gives students the opportunity to practice their skills on patients around the community for a discounted price. M State professor Robin Peltier was once a student in the program and came back to teach.
Oh, I love the program. I'm so passionate about dental hygiene to be able to practice it, but to teach it is just amazing.
To schedule an appointment, call M State in Moorhead. You need to allow 3 hours for the exam.
A St. Cloud State professor will be able to monitor what's above the clouds from the comfort of his classroom. Physicist John Harlander will be developing instruments for a 2017 NASA satellite mission. The instruments will measure winds and temperatures in the thermosphere, which is an upper layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The program, called Explorer, has launched more than 90 missions since its first in 1958. Harlander students will also be able to help collect data and make observations during the study.
With swimsuit season right around the corner, some students are looking to protein drinks to bulk up. But do they actually live up to all the claims that you see on the labels? Reporter Ross Torgerson has the story.
Lean, mean, muscle-building machine? Or crazy, yet genius, money-making marketing scheme? While the claims on the outside of these tubs of whey protein may be true, average Joe at the gym may have a different story. Whey protein itself is a byproduct of making cheese, where the curd and the whey separate during the process. And up until about 15 years ago, farmers would throw away the whey, deeming it unusable, until they discovered its benefits. Just one scoop of whey protein is equivalent to 26 grams of protein, and weight depending, that can range from being half of your daily intake to just a third. For someone weighing 150 pounds, 55 grams per day, and for someone weighing 250 pounds, a whopping 92 grams per day. But is protein powder healthy?
Protein powder is relatively safe. Most of it has just amino acids in and things like that. Most people get enough protein in their diet. I mean, our American diets have a lot of meat in it. So if you have a standard normal diet, you're getting enough protein the way it is. You don't need to add or supplement with protein.
I mean, you see a lot of people take them, I guess, and I'm not saying they don't work, but I'm just saying it could be psychological. Again, I can't prove what they do is, making me bigger or stronger necessarily, but in my opinion, it doesn't hurt.
Now, nutritionists don't recommend that whey protein should be your only source of protein in your diet. Foods rich in protein such as eggs, steak, and nuts should be a regular part of your diet as well. Now let's take a look at those 3 food items and see how they stack up against the protein powder. An egg contains approximately 4 grams of protein. A cup of mixed nuts, 24 grams of protein. A 12-ounce steak, a whopping 60 grams of protein. So do the numbers add up? Well, the numbers do show that with an existing protein-rich diet, the protein powder is actually not necessary, and you should be warned that too much protein can harm your body.
Too much protein in the body actually, without getting too scientific, can be harmful in the body. Most things, I should say, are okay when taken at a minimum level, but when you start adding things, it can have negative effects on the balance of different things within the body.
With photographer Catherine Beneby, Ross Torgerson, Campus News.
Whey protein can range from $50 to $70 per container.
With finals week coming up, Concordia students gathered to take a break from the books and sing some karaoke. Whether they were a karaoke veteran or a rookie, everyone was welcome to participate. Some students even busted a move as they listened to the music. For one Concordia student, it was his first time singing karaoke, but it wasn't his first time on the stage.
Well, I've been singing pretty much all my life, I guess. Didn't actually get into choir until my freshman year in high school, and I just fell in love with it after that.
From old classics to new tunes, Concordia students enjoyed the wide variety of music at karaoke night.
The 24th annual Woodlands and High Plains Powwow at MSUM brought in bells, drums, and a big audience.
People in the community filed in to experience Native American history. Reporter Jackie Ullman brings us to the festive event.
Drums and songs, colorful costumes, and Native American art filled the Nemzek Fieldhouse. The powwow season has just begun as many tribes across the Midwest come together to celebrate their ancestors and Native American history. Thomas Bluestone, an NDSU student, is part of the 3 affiliated tribes from Fort Berthold, North Dakota.
This is like a social function. When we come out here, we like to dance and show what we can do to everybody here.
Dancers dressed in their finest outfits and danced in the middle of the gym. The powwow allowed the community to learn more about tribes and the background of being Native American through song, dance, and art.
These are all the items that I do at home, and I'll sit and, visit with my kids and watch TV and listen.
Each tribe brought their own native song and drums, and even the youngest of dancers showed off their favorite colors as they danced to the beat of the drums. The bleachers were packed, and many watched in awe of this colorful and spiritual event.
You're Native American, you're non-Native American, young or old, everybody can have a pretty good time here.
You leave here and it's a good feeling, it's a good thing to be a part of, just really enjoy it.
With photographer Melissa Steffen, Jackie Ullman, Campus News.
If you missed MSUM's powwow, Mandaree, North Dakota, located 70 miles north of Dickinson, is hosting its own July 19th through the 21st.
The North Dakota State College of Science Theater in Wahpeton is getting a new name thanks to a generous donation. The theater is now the Bremer Bank Theater. Bremer Bank is donating $50,000 to the NDSCS Foundation over the next 10 years. The money is for improvements and upgrades to the theater. The theater is used for community, college, and high school performances. Drums, guitar, keyboard, handbells? A Tri-College handbell choir is looking to bring the instruments into the modern music era. Reporter Brian Ashburn brings us to the bells.
Late at night, the sound of bells ringing can be heard across the Concordia College campus. No, not those bells. These bells. Conductor Jessica Westgard and the Tintinnabula Handbell Choir are making noise to break the stereotypes behind handbells.
It's kind of that staunchy little old church ladies playing hymns along with the organ.
So some people will say, you can't join handbells, it's social suicide. It's kind of like a nerdy thing to do, but we're trying to get out of that, slowly but surely.
They've even put a modern spin on a classical instrument.
This is actually kind of cool because we were playing Coldplay.
And although some people may think it's as easy as a flick of the wrist.
Oh, you should play for the, Salvation Army bell. Yeah, we could. Yeah. Problem is, this takes a little bit more coordination than standing there going like this.
There are many different techniques and styles behind bell ringing.
It'll go ding, and it goes.
But no matter how you swing it,
bell people are just bell people. It's kind of weird that it's like once you catch the bug.
There's more to it than you think.
I played the big bells last year, but I got tendinitis. So I go to physical therapy for that now. So bells is a sport.
With photographer Melissa Steffen, Brian Ashburn, Campus News.
The Tintinnabula Handbell Choir recently went on tour across Minnesota. And now we turn it over to Colin Boyles for a look at this week's sports.
So this late spring has really had a major effect on the outdoor sports teams.
Yeah, it's making them really have to shuffle things around, so it's kind of frustrating for them. Thanks. With so much snow falling in the area this spring, Moorhead and Concordia teams are doing the best they can with what they have. Reporter Kenny Buck shows us how they're handling the cold.
Snow, an element that comes into play often in sports. But it's almost May, and local teams are trying to practice on anything that isn't covered in a blanket of snow.
All this spring snow is forcing some teams to move their practices indoors and even to other area school facilities.
Due to the extreme conditions at their own field, the Concordia baseball team has been forced to practice inside.
We have portable mounds that you can use. Obviously, it's better to pitch off the dirt mounds outside, but it's better than nothing.
The heavy snow has even pushed Minnesota football into North Dakota. NDSU has been kind enough to let MSUM football schedule practices on their Dakota field.
We've practiced in snow, we've practiced in wind, we've practiced at 5:45 in the morning, and so they've handled the changes of schedule great.
MSUM football players Miles Montplaisir and Wade Youngbloom say the unfortunate weather is nothing they can't handle.
The weather has been not permitting for us to practice at our own field, but it provides an opportunity for our team to kind of figure out, can we handle this adversity?
Everyone who comes and plays here knows you're going to have to handle these conditions. You just really never know.
Never knowing what the weather is going to bring is a challenge, but for these athletes, it's just another part of the game. With photographer Kyle Wahlberg, Kenny Buck, Campus News.
Concordia's baseball team has had to relocate all of its home games this season. The MSUM spring football game was also moved to NDSU's Dakota Field. If you walk in on a game of cricket, you might be a little confused. A game not known to many in the U.S., cricket is a sport that combines a little bit of baseball and track. Intramurals at MSUM gathers on Fridays in Nimzig Hall to let those who know and don't know play the game.
I kind of grew up with cricket. I'm from Sri Lanka, and it's kind of like a national sport for us. So since we could walk and talk, pretty much we've been playing it. So
each team gets the chance to bat and field, with the bowler trying to get 3 outs, like in baseball. Traditional cricket matches can last an afternoon up to several days. MSUM athletes gathered Monday to kick off a week-long event for the Dragon Firewalk. The MSUM bookstore sponsors the Walk the Dragon campaign to raise money for athletic scholarships and to promote health. It is a 5-day event in which participants walk a 6-site course throughout campus, getting a stamp at each of the 6 sites.
Once we're done with our walk, we fill out a sheet and we turn it into the bookstore.
And they donate $3 for every lap you do?
Yep, every lap we do, or every workout.
Okay.
So, and it goes out throughout the week, and at the end we have a ceremony.
Walk the Dragon has raised nearly $16,000 for athletics in its 8 years. MSUM has seen a recent jump in overall grade point averages for student athletes. This may have them being recognized as more of a student rather than an athlete. One Dragons athlete is making sure that is the case for her. As the morning frost is still fresh on cars, junior and Dragon student athlete Caitlin McNary starts another typical day. A day that she and all Dragon student athletes will find with the task of balancing sports, studies, and a personal life. McNary is on the Dragons tennis team, but her Northern Sun all-academic team honor tells more of why she is attending MSUM.
I'm here for school. I am here to play tennis for fun, but that it is just for fun. My main focus here is school.
The tennis squad received a 3.75 grade point average in the fall, the highest among all the athletic teams. The high number shows an upward trend for many of MSUM's student athletes.
This was probably the first time in the 3 years that I've been in this position where our student body GPA is at a 3.0.
We have the true student athletes that are not just here for their athletic sport, that they're here to be a student athlete and to attend class and to graduate.
Big help to just learn right off the bat.
With such a demanding schedule shaped around class time, sports can sometimes get in the way.
The only way it would have negatively affected me would have been that I just didn't do as much homework during the week because I was so tired.
Despite the struggle at times, student athletes that find balance like McNary have a great opportunity after graduation.
You know, being a student athlete isn't easy, and doing the balance and the missed class time, the travel, the life on the road, and being able to pull it all off, that's why student athletes are highly sought after.
So while a juggling act might stress some student athletes, they can relax knowing their dedication will benefit them in the long run. McNary will not be with the tennis team this fall because she'll be taking a trip to study in Argentina. McNary had her first learning experience with MSUM's new tennis coach this year, a coach that is originally from across the pond. Reporter Cammie Raisler shares how his love of the game was not the only love luring him to Moorhead.
He goes out. Ashley, you take his place.
Playing tennis all his life, all over Europe. The head tennis pro from Courts Plus Fitness in Fargo is now the head tennis coach at MSUM.
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do it.
By the sound of his voice, Oliver Summers is clearly not from around here.
Something besides tennis stole Coach Summers' heart that made him travel all the way from England to Fargo, North Dakota.
That something, a former MSUM student who was on exchange with MSUM. The two met at the University of Portsmouth in England.
I'd seen her in the hallways and I kind of plucked up the courage to talk to her. And actually we were watching a rugby game on a Saturday afternoon, and finally after spending the whole day with her and some friends, then I had the courage to ask her out.
Oliver's now wife, Angie, was going to attend law school, so the two decided to make the move to the States.
Really excited to see Oliver heading the tennis program because I think it's going to be, even bigger and better and greater than, it's been.
The two now have a young daughter, and with a little free time for tennis, have made their home here in the Red River Valley.
I did miss it at first, but now it feels like home, and I really like it here.
Cammie Raisler, Campus News.
The two took a trip around Europe before meeting Oliver's parents just 1 month after they first met. What a cute story, huh?
That really is. They should make a movie about them. They should. Thanks, Colin. On a much sadder note, MSUM is mourning the loss of a longtime mass communications professor and local broadcast news legend. Marv Bossert passed away this week after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Bossert was an anchor at WDAY-TV for 42 years and a mass communications professor here at MSUM for more than 30. Campus News did a story on Bossert when he taught his last class in 2008. As one of the longest-running news anchors in America, he loved sharing his passion for TV news with his students.
I was blessed to the heavens because I had not one but two jobs that I absolutely loved. That doesn't happen to very many people.
Marv did a lot of great things for this program. Yeah, he did. He'll definitely be missed.
Yes, he will. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with another look at the Woodlands and High Plains Powwow. Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News was produced by the Television News Workshop in the Department of Mass Communications at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.